Okay, we are ready to begin with the Duke Blue Devils and Coach Jon Scheyer. Let's go straight to questions. Who has the first question for Coach? Be on your extreme right, Coach, by the curtain.
Hey, John. Steve Wiseman, Raleigh News and Observer. We saw Jalen out there practicing everything early. Can you just kind of tell us how his week has gone and what you thought about the way he's recovered from that really scary fall?
Yeah, that was really scary in the moment. And fortunately, Jalen got back the next morning. You always wonder the next day how they feel, and with a fall like that. And Jalen's been great. You know, he's felt really good. We didn't do much as a team on Monday anyway, so it gave him a chance to get back. But he's been full go ever since, and he'll be ready for tomorrow night.
Okay, in the back, again by the curtain.
John David Teal with the Richmond Times-Dispatch. You mentioned last week in Brooklyn that Jared is different and built for moments like this. What led you to that conclusion, and how did you identify those traits?
Well, you know, Jared, I think I would hope you can see it in the recruiting process when you're evaluating a player. But you really get to know who they are when they get to campus. And look, everybody on the team, you want to play, right? Like every player, you want to earn minutes and play as much as you can. You want to start. And I learned very quickly with Jared, we have in our practice, the white team is the first group and the blue is the second group. And anytime I put him in a blue jersey, he'd be talking smack. He'd be, making sure I think the blue group won every time he went to blue. And by the way, when I say talking smack, to me too, like he'd be running up and down, talking to me after making shots and in a positive way when I say that. Like he's just so motivated, and the stage doesn't bother him. I think that's a motivating factor for him when I've seen him play at Peach Jam or the City of Palms and with his high school team. He's been at his best, and he just lives for those moments. And the thing that Jared did, I mentioned the putting him on blue or white. He's never given us an option. Like he just since he's got to campus, he said, "This is what I'm doing, and I'm not going to apologize for it." And the way he's competed has been that's what's so different. The maturity with how he competes has been so refreshing, and been great to coach.
A reminder to media on Zoom, if you have a question, please raise your hand. Next question for Coach Scheyer here on your right.
Connor O'Neill with Devils Illustrated. John, at the regular season finale in the game in D.C., you were disappointed with your team's defensive intensity and effort. After last week's two games, I think both teams held on 20 points under their season average. What turned the page and what allowed the defense to click again last week?
Well, it was just refocusing on ourselves. And, look, I think our guys have shown throughout the year we're a really good defensive team. And, sometimes when you have a couple games that don't go your way, our guys, they don't have to you have to get over it quickly. Like so many teams, that happens, unfortunately. And for us, it was just getting back to the work, Connor. It was having each other's backs. You got to guard the ball. You need a rebound. And I thought the consistency of just having five guys on the floor moving together was the difference. And sometimes, at least for us, you get into February and then March, and the practice time you have is focused so much on other opponents. And for us, this last week and a half has been a lot on us, and that's been really important.
Okay, again on the right, up front.
Joseph Duarte, Houston Chronicle. John, when you look at Houston's defense, what just jumps out at you in terms of how they play and the personnel that they have to do what they do?
Well, I think anytime you look at a really good defensive team, but for Houston, look, they probably, if not the best defense in the country, they're right there. And you have to talk about their effort. Their effort is terrific. They have they make multiple efforts protecting the basket, defending in pick and roll, defending throughout the shot clock. They have really good one-on-one defenders. Obviously that's the best way you can break a defense down is by getting by. They make it hard on you to get by. And then when you do get by, there's going to be somebody else that's always there waiting to help. And so if you try to play disconnected or not together, they're going to make you look bad. And it's a great challenge. They have different ways they can defend. They've not just done it one way. I think since they've had some injuries and some things like that, they've had a smaller group out there at times, and they still do an amazing job. So, but I think the challenge comes down to not allowing them to stand you up. You know, obviously they're very physical. They play with great force on that end. But you have to get in the paint and you have to make them, you know, help, and then you have to make the right plays from there. But, you know, they score a ton off of turnovers. You know, they do a good job turning you over and making you pay for it. So it's a great challenge, and you know, I'm really excited for our team to have that opportunity to go against a great Houston team, but a great Houston defense.
Okay, let's move to the extreme left.
John, Stephen Hawkins with the EP in Dallas. Kind of a historical perception on this game. You look, Duke's been obviously in a lot of Sweet 16s. Houston in the last 5 or 6 years is now kind of getting back to the point. What do you see now in this Houston team that's so much different than what it was for so long when they couldn't do it? Well, they didn't do anything after Fastlane Majama.
You know, I can't comment on Houston, you know, the last how many ever years or so, what has or hasn't been good. But, you know, I've focused on them, who they've been this season. And obviously this group has been together not just this year. It's been a few years in the making, right? And I think you just have to point to their culture. You know, they just have a winning culture. You're playing a team that expects to win. Coach Sampson, the job that he's done, his staff, the program, they've developed that edge and that belief. That's something that I've known no other way since I've been a player at Duke. You know, that's no different since I've been an assistant coach here, the head coach. We expect to win. And so both programs, you have a winning culture. You expect that. And it makes for, I think, what can be a really high-level game. And but with them, that's what I point to. I point to their culture, their belief in each other, their toughness. I've been impressed with when they haven't been at their best this year, you know, just watching them on film, they still find a way to be right there in the game. And that's the making of not just a great team, but a great program.
In the back now.
Brent Zorneman, Houston Chronicle. John, being back in this state, do you have a favorite memory of the time you spent in Edinburgh?
Time I spent where?
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
The Vipers?
Okay, all right, I got you. All right, I got you. McAllen, all right. Yeah, so
I
I'm
should have
just
said Vipers.
Yeah, no, all good. No, I remember McAllen like yours yesterday. You know, just you know, that was a big moment in my life, not just my career, going to play in Rio Grande, because it was right after I had an eye injury in the summer, and I got cut by the Clippers in the preseason, and I played at Duke for 4 years. And I had to go start my professional career, and that's where I went to start with Rio Grande Valley. And I was fortunate to be with Chris Finch, you know, who's now the head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Here's my head coach. Play with, you know, some really good guys at the time. You know, Gerald McNeil, Matt Janning. I can go down the list. We had a good team. You know, we played in the championship of the G League that year against Iowa, I think it was, with Nick Nurse, you know, and his team. And so for me, it was just you're taught a different way of playing. You know, we sent 4 guys to the offensive boards, shot a lot of threes, and then obviously the town of, you know, McAllen and being down there. Just they love basketball. You know, it was just it found my love again for the game, and that was such a meaningful experience for me to get back to playing. And so to be back here is obviously in Texas. We've had some great memories at Duke here, but I'll never forget those moments playing the G League there. It was the D League then. Now it's the G League. So yeah.
Okay, here on the aisle.
Dan Wolken, USA Today. John, you know, last year you guys were a young team that got knocked out by an old team. When you reflected back on that, was that just sort of one result in your mind, or were there things about that you take forward to say, hey, this is how we got to build Duke basketball in this era where maybe older teams are getting the upper hand in a lot of these tournament games?
Yeah, sure. It's 100% every experience that I've had as a head coach, any step of the way through Duke. Obviously, the last few years have been different with the landscape, but every experience has led to action. You know, you have to take action from it. And for us, core group from that team is back. Obviously, we added in 4 freshmen as well. But those experiences harden you. They make you tougher as long as you don't make excuses and you're really honest with what happened in the moment. And the honest truth was they were tougher than us that day. Tennessee was. And obviously there's other games where maybe we didn't execute as well, or you always learn something from those moments. But the tournament, it's one and done time is precious, you know. And so for us, like, that's been a reminder for us along the way. I've used it with our guys, and it's part of the development and the growth of this team. And you know, look, I don't think we're not old by any stretch of the imagination, but we are, you know, we have guys who have experienced the tournament before, which I think matters. You know, Tyrese, Jeremy, Mark, and Flip, you know, those guys, well, Mark didn't play in the game you're talking about, but for us, having the experience of playing in the tournament, in addition to some of our freshmen, who is their first time, I think is very valuable. But for me, for our program, every moment is motivation for me. Every moment is motivation for us with what we're looking to do as we move forward as well.
Any other questions now for Coach? I don't think I see any hands. Coach, we'll let you go and get ready for tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
We will see you
All right,
then.
thank you.
Here's your names. You guys don't want any water or anything? You good? Okay. Holler if you do. Okay, let's continue with the Duke Blue Devils, the student athletes from Duke, Jeremy Roach, Tyrese Proctor, and Kyle Filipowski. First question for any of the three guys. I'm sure there has to be a question. Okay, here on your extreme left.
Stephen Hawkins with the AP, and I'll just start with Jeremy. Just talk about when you look at this Houston team that's, they in the last few years have kind of been here, done that. Talk about what you see in this group this year and facing them and trying to get past them.
Oh, yeah, they're a tough group. Obviously, they have the best defense in the country. Obviously, with a top 10, top 20 offense, too. So we know it's going to be a battle. I think we just, for our mindset, we just got to come out and kind of impose our will the first 4 minutes. I think that's the biggest thing. Physicality, if we master physicality, I think everything will take care of itself. So.
Okay, here on the right side now by the curtain.
Joseph Duarte, Houston Chronicle, for any of the three. When you look at them defensively, do they remind you of anybody that maybe you played, and how difficult does it become when they don't allow you to get, those looks that you may normally get?
Tyrese, why don't you answer that?
I feel like we've played teams like them all season, like the physicality aspect of it. I think just playing poise and just limiting turnovers is going to be a huge thing for us. They try and muck up the game and try and make it harder than it is. And I think if we just discipline and poised, we'll be fine.
Okay, let's move back again to the left side.
I'll just ask Colin and Jeremy this one. Just talk about how you guys have responded from the regular season finale and then the ACC tournament, just kind of in this couple weeks and just kind of getting back on track. And what's
Kyle?
been the difference?
Kyle, you go first.
I think the most important thing is just our confidence within ourselves. Obviously, that's not the way we wanted to end the season, but that's in the past now. The only thing we're focused on is what lies ahead, and I think just staying within our group, staying humbled, but also knowing that we gotta go out there and battle every day. But doing it together is the most important thing.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was just confidence. I think just our whole I would just say really just getting that first game against Vermont was a big thing for us. I mean, obviously we knew how good we are, but with the 2 losses and we didn't get a win for like two weeks, the MO can kind of get a little unconfident. But I think just getting that first win against Vermont was a big thing, and then it's kind of just lead us to the second round and obviously to where we are now. But we just got to keep that confidence going. And like Kyle said, at the end we got to play together. Can't do it all on one. It's got to be all 15 guys.
Okay, other questions? Again on the left toward the back.
Brent Zorneman, Houston Chronicle. Houston's playing 3 hours from home. Does that faze y'all at all? Do you feel like with y'all's kind of following, what is your approach on that, being 3 hours from Houston's home?
Why doesn't Jeremy start with that?
Yeah, obviously we're playing in Texas. It's basically like a home game for them. But we're not worried. We played in difficult environments all season, so we're kind of used to this. But like I said, just if the 15 guys in the locker room believe and the coaching staff believe in us, then we don't have to worry about whether it's home crowd or wherever we're playing now. I mean, we know it's going to be a good crowd. It's going to be a special crowd, so we're ready for that environment.
Okay, we have a question now on the right in the middle.
Kate Rogerson, WTVD in Durham. Jeremy, you're the only starter who has played on this stage in the Sweet 16. There's a few of you who still remain from the 2022 team. What have you told the younger guys, as in Flip and Tyrese, just about playing in the Sweet 16?
We made it out the first round, obviously. It's a big thing. I think that's the hardest round, but now you got to kind of just ride the momentum into the second round. I think that's the biggest thing, but obviously it gets harder as the tournament goes on. The stakes are even higher now, so I think just really it's kind of the same mentality, just taking it one game at a time. Don't think who we could play on Sunday, or we got to win Friday to get to Sunday. So.
Okay, toward the back by the curtain.
Matt Giles, Blue Devil Country. Guys, the bench is really important now with you got 3 guys out for the season. So the 4 bench players that you do have, Ryan and Sean and TJ and Jalen, can y'all just talk about their importance and the history of Duke having players come off the bench in big-time games in the NCAA tournament, kind of what their development this year and how they've grown.
Is this for all three guys?
Sure.
Okay, Kyle, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I mean, just, obviously this is a team game, and we need everyone that we can get for this time of year. I mean, everyone has a specific role to this team, and I think we do a really good job because how selfless we are as people of just carrying those roles out, and that's really what's gotten us this far. So just keeping that up and knowing that each one of us is just as important as the other is a really big thing.
I think they've been great for us. Sort of coach talks about coming in waves, and we obviously have our job as starters to start the game strong and sort of set the tone, and then they have a job to come in and just keep attacking and keep bringing those different waves. So I think, obviously at first it's a learning curve, and because everyone coming out of high school is, the top recruits and stuff like that. But I feel like we're at a point where everyone knows their role and everyone knows what to do when they're on the court. Just bring energy.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Everybody's learning their roles. Obviously, Boog does what he does, comes in and bring defense, and him and Sean come in and bring energy, and TJ, he's coming in to shoot. So, I mean, everybody's kind of finding their roles and just deciding, or really just getting comfortable with their roles and not trying to do too much outside themselves, just doing what the team asks them to do, and I think that's the biggest thing. So, like, you never know when it's going to be your night. I mean, that's why the bench has done a great job to staying ready, because obviously you've heard stories about Grayson Allen championship game, getting his moment. So I think just staying ready is a big thing, and I think they've been doing that all season.
Okay, now let's swing to the left toward the back.
Jeremy, how have you seen Coach put his stamp on this program in a short amount of time, in 2 seasons?
I mean, he's learned from the best, obviously, but I mean, he's had a hell of a first season. We won the ACC. People doubted us early on in the season, but I think for him it's just really just kind of keeping the group together, especially last year. I think that was a big thing. Everybody thought that we had a crazy up and down season in the beginning of the year, but then we ended up running off 15 straight and winning the ACC, and then obviously ultimately falling to Tennessee in around the 32. But no, I think he's done a great job. Obviously, coming into this coaching job is not easy, especially at Duke. So I think he's done a hell of a job, and I mean we still got more work to do this year, but he's done a great job this year too.
Okay, anybody else? See no hands, guys?
Thank you.
You're free to go. Good luck tomorrow. Thanks for coming. Good to see you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Good luck. Our next press conference begins at 3:05 with